This is the Bar Steward's Enquiry.
Right? You're talking absolute rubbish. Absolute rubbish.
In what way?
You were an underachiever in life. I saved your bacon one time. You were gone.
You handled that well. I couldn't save you. But you did the right thing.
But that's why you don't know anything about racing, John.
I didn't say I do.
Right?
I'm saying that...
What have you contributed to racing? You're one of these take-out merchants. Take out all you can.
Hello and welcome. Yes, it's our final podcast of the week from a tipping perspective, and I hope you've been listening so far because I think we've done rather well. Tuesday we knocked in the Vars winner, coupled with the Coventry winner. Today we've done the biz again with Merchant Banker, absolutely doing the biz in the King George Handicap, and we followed that up in style with the Britannia first and second. I think if John's selection had got a better trip, we might have even ventured to even get close to a tri-cast. So yeah, I hope you've enjoyed this week so far. So joining me for this pivotal show, which covers Friday and Saturday's racing, we've brought in some reinforcements. It's John and Quentin again from last night on the Patreon, and we have brought in the one and only Trevor Brooking fan club, Nick Davis. Good evening, gentlemen.
Good evening.
Big Lee.
Hello.
John says that like he's either just had half a tin of Monster or something. I don't know.
I have, actually.
Yeah.
Peach.
Oh, peach now, is it?
Yeah.
Have you gone off pink one a bit then?
Yeah, not really. I'm just mixing it up a bit now, and I'm starting putting them in smoothies, and that's a bit dangerous, like.
Monster smoothie. I'm loving this. Yeah. Without further ado, we'll do another cooking section on the sermon on Sunday, just for you smoothie fans. So coming on to our three best bets for the next 2 days. Personally, I found it a lot trickier these next 2 days, but I've certainly given it the full shot of the full day's study today. So hopefully we can carry on the good form. Third best bet. Tell you what, let's hear from Nick Davis first of all, because I think I'm more intrigued to hear what he's got to say over the next 2 days than anyone else, I think.
We're going to the Wokingham on Saturday. I would have been out with Elman Jed on if he had got in, but just behind him in that race was completely random. Been very, very progressive this year. In that race at Newbury, slowly away, kept at the back, and then he did one of the quickest furlongs in the race, but just couldn't get to him, and he got out, just couldn't get to Aram and the front lot. And what I think this is, I think this race will be run to suit. Obviously, the Wokingham is a cavalry charge. You've got several who can win here. Symbol of Honour, probably as a 3-year-old, I think is very, very classy, but he's a stupid price now. And what I would say, a lot of these, you've noticed a lot of these have been drifting this week, especially sort of in handicaps, unless they have a plunge on one like My Cloud. But a lot of these have been drifting out from the bookmakers are really, really squeezing you about 48 hours to sort of 12 hours before. Symbol, I would have a saver on that, but my 1 point is going to go on completely random because I think he's a decent price at 20s.
20s with Billy Mountains for Nick's kickers off. The Wokingham, and of course, we'll come on to that in more depth later in the show. Thank you, Nick. John.
Right, this is going to shock you.
Go on.
This is in the Sandringham Handicap.
No.
Yes. Believe it or not, this is a filly I've had my eye on since day one, really. A lovely structure to her, a right nice type, and I think she's been so mishandled, it's not even fucking funny. They could have won another handicap en route here, but they chose to go into a listed race and they've bagged £12 for getting bait, but at least it's got her in here. And that's Never Let Go. I was mortified when she turned up in the listed race at Goodwood because I was just waiting they were running in a handicap and it would have been a case of decide how much you want to win. And yet, it's got her in here and she'll get the ride that'll suit the race. And I'm not entirely sure that she's actually maxed out on the improvement stakes yet because I still think she's got a lot of physical improvement within. And I think she could just blindside a few people tomorrow. A nice old look ride is a big price. Let's see if we can get lucky.
You certainly got a nice price here. Again, we're not always tipping shorties on this show. 33-1 is available with Paddy Power and Willie Mills. So if you've got those accounts, then fill your boots If John's tipping up a filly, I even start to listen because he doesn't do that. He just doesn't. So
Well, the squares.
I think I might have a little go on that myself. Quentin, coming to you now for your third best.
I'm going to keep it short and towards the end of the market. Commonwealth Cup tomorrow, 15:05. Ascot, obviously. 29 beat 30, beat 28, beat 27 in the Britannia there. I'd fallen on the horse before that, to be honest. He's a fairly obvious one. He just looks a sprinter, doesn't he? Travelled up a treat in the Guineas, just didn't get home. Tongue tie remains on. Buick upgrade from Mickey Barcelona. He's 2-1 across the board pretty much at this stage. I'm making an 11-8 shot. Best form in the race. Question marks about those in and around him in the market. 1 point win.
I remember doing a review with John, I think, on the sermon after the Guineas. And both me and John said, well, that's the Commonwealth Cup sorted out, is it not? The big move from the back, like it's got pace to bird. Nothing not to like, Quentin, really, at 2-1.
Wait, no worries about the ground?
No worries at all. Absolutely no worries at all.
Good confidence there from Mr. Franks. I'll finish us off. My third best bet. It's a bit of a cop-out, this, in a way, because I'm not asking you to take a price as such. To me, it's a banker, but I just think you can wait with this because you'll get bigger in running anyway. 5:35 Ascot, King Ted, Amalok. It's an absolute machine. The ridiculous fractions it came home in last time after spending the first half of the race, quite lazy. I think that's what you want for Ascot because John made a good point, I think, on either yesterday's show or the earlier show, where he says, you go down that hill at Ascot and everything goes like Roy Keane, or can go Roy Keane and destroy the chances. You ain't got any fear with this. This will probably be pushed along out the back early doors. And I think that's where the horse, he might have a little bit of mind of his own, but he's very, very talented. He's a top-class performer. It's 15-8 currently, but I think you'll be able to beat that. It's just bookmakers tend to shorten them in too much. So Amalok for me is my third best in the King Ted. John, I'll kick the next round off with you for your second best bet.
This is in the Palace of Holyrood. It's another one that's been on the radar since day one, actually, and that's the Shirts Realign. At one point was running over 7 in the Convivial last year, deciding now that he's a sprinter. Well, yeah, I can just about agree with that diagnosis from the Shirt. I think he's got a lot of speed, this horse, and I saw him at Salisbury first time up this year. I think he's done tremendously well physically. He's really pulled together. I can't really have him as just a 93 performer. I think he's 100 plus material, and I think this race will bring about the best in him as well because he'll go like stink. He can have a nice midfield sit, and I honestly I think he'll come through on the bit here, and it'll be hard at the finish, but I think he'll travel so nice and be able to come through. I think it'll be a joy to behold.
No, confident choice from John Sandringham. They're 4-1 available in places for John for his selection. So if you like Realign, you know what to do when you listen to this segment. Okay, Quentin Franks, I'm coming to you.
My next bet leads in the 17:35 Ascot tomorrow in the King Edward is 7th or 8th? 7th. And I'm against your Amalok. I half thought it was a moody display last time out at Goodwood. Maybe it was course configuration. There's no doubt that he won well in the end. It was concerning nonetheless. He's been in the notebook since debut, and time from were calling the ground firm yesterday. I'm concerned about him on the ground, to be honest. Not much in the pedigree saying top of the ground. Nothing really in the pedigrees ran on good the firm ground. They all look soft ground horses. He moves like a horse that I think will be better with a bit of ease underfoot. And I'm going to take him on with a couple in here. First would be Opportunity, 14-1. Again, Haggis just spunking a mark of 95 potentially. Didn't handle Goodwood last time out when behind Amalok. Plenty of trouble in running. Like the way he knuckled down through the line for nothing more than hand riding. Feel it's the type of race that would have made a bit of a man of him. Think he's going to keep on improving and improving quickly. The other one I want on side would be Nightwalker. Was impressed with him in the Dante, keeping on off a steady fractions, not really hard pressed. Epsom, you can just stick a line through, simple as. He's a fluent moving horse who, from a family that want top of the ground and good to soft ground, didn't suit him. He did race lazily, maybe the course, maybe the ground. They stuck blinds on the draws and nagging down with him, but I think he's 12-1 or something, 14-1 as well. So 1 point win on each of them, and looking to oppose the favourite.
Good stuff, mate. So split stake wankering from Quentin. At least it's at prices, and he takes on my Mr. Obvious choice in Amalok. So you'd have to decide what you'd like to do there. Coming on to my second best, I feel like I'm cheating some of you here because we'll have to wait and see what gets in. But the 17:35 on Saturday, the Golden Gates. If Archivist doesn't get in, then I'm with Seraph Gabriel. Extremely solid form at the top of the market. I'll come on to Archivist in a second. But Seraph Gabriel has put some really, really strong efforts. I do think the fact that Ross O'Ryan's chose this horse over another horse I like in the race called Orel from the same yard, I think speaks volumes that they think this is a better prospect. And the second to fifth column is strong. It just looks the right favourite and a square enough price, really, given that we could be facing, it's not so bad to be drawn out wide down the back. But if Archivist gets in from the Haggis, this would be one of my strongest bets of the week. I think this is a very, very good horse. But sadly, off 90, he sadly just failed to make the cut. He's better than that. He's going to be listed stroke Group 3 class. And I bet Haggis is a bit seething, really, that he didn't manage to squeak in.
He's had a bit of that. He's had Treasure Time, Elman Jed.
He certainly had it rough. And Archivist would have been my strongest bet of the week, even better than Merchant at the prices anyway. I mean, you might want to back him now because you get your money back, obviously, if he doesn't run. So 7-1 Archivist is probably a play. And as I said, if he doesn't go, then Seraph Gabriel will probably do the biz for Rafe and Ralph, who's not been in the spotlight much this week of Rafe and Ralph. Maybe tomorrow is the day for that. Nick Davis.
15:40 tomorrow, Duke of Edinburgh Stakes. You want to be out wide here, as today showed again, the 1-2 in the King George, and I think there's loads and loads of pace there. There'll be loads and loads of trouble, and it's the horses. My selection is the one that I nominated for about 8 weeks ago, and it's Mount Atlas. I was a bit distraught when they got up £4 last time for running against Illinois. I couldn't see the point in it, but it is what it is. Time before that, well, a couple of times before, Toyota rode him at Kempton, went chasing after a suicide pace and lost about 4 places turning in. And before that, made a move in the old Rowley at Newmarket and got mown down just by a horse that has gone to Australia, which is my Sun God, has gone to Australia. Likely to be ridden about sort of 8th, I think, here, because there is so much pace, especially from the outside. And I think there's going to be murders in the inside. As normal, it's not very good, but I think there's going to be murders in the inside when they all come across. So hopefully he can be placed on the outside and have a trouble-free run. 2 points win, Mount Atlas, 8-1. I think.
Been good money, good support for him. And I do think he's been sort of laid out for this. And like you say, they probably were a bit gutted. They went up from Chester.
That's your own fault, isn't it?
That's the price you pay, innit? Idiota. So that's finished off the second best bet round. Now it's lucky 15 time, folks. Yes. Get your pens at the job. Life-changing money again. The life-changing money round that we never seem to get up. Where am I going to come? Where am I going to come to first? I'll kick us off then. I'll save the better of the bets till last. But this is certainly I'm certainly not being blogger here. The best bet goes in the 420 at Ascot tomorrow, the Coronation, in what looks a weaker than normal Coronation, in that it's only got the 1 3-year-old classic winner. That one, it obviously a reversal in the stewards, the French Guineas Zarigana in the race. So in a week here, I am absolutely astonished to see the prices on offer here. I'm literally astonished. And as much as I love the favourite, Falakea, who I think I've always said she's going to be Group 1. She looks absolute quality, and dropping back to a mile is certainly no hindrance. Do I think at the price that she's particularly exciting? No. I'll tell you one that is. How on earth is Cathedral 66 to 1? Answers on a postcard, right? Hammered on debut. I remember getting the message and saying, I mean, it started 2s on, so it shows you what they thought of her. Then straight to the Group 3 at Newmarket, second start. It's a massive sort of grade in terms of what you're doing from debut then to second start. She was just touched off by Merrily, and I was a bit gutted, but the fillies in behind her, and no mugs. Flight was third, 3.25 lengths behind. She's gone and ran well in the 1,000 guineas. Troyer herself, is a listed winning filly, runs to about 100, and they're sort of like 5 lengths adrift. Well, you're not dealing with the standard year here. You're not going to have to run to 115 plus to win this. You're going to have to run to something, I think, about 110. The last run behind Great Generation, well, you're taking on the elders at that time of year, which is a massive disadvantage. Statistically, it's not good taking on the elders. Secondly, the 3 that beat her are all solid, really solid Group 3 sort of yardsticks. I'm not saying she's a good thing or anything, but 66ers, I'd be making them more like 14s or 16s. 66ers each way. It's a nice each way makeup kind of race. 3 pegs, that's where I'd play it. Very, very massive price. So Cathedral to kick us off with a round at 66 to 1. Mr. Lang.
Better get us back down to earth with a bump. After that. We're on stratospheric prices there. Bloody hell.
Yeah.
Got a nosebleed just looking it up.
Yeah.
Duke of Edinburgh handicap, which is our mate Nick's already touched on. Regular readers of my notes column will know that we have waited 12 months on this happening.
I know where this is going.
Yeah, this is the return to Ascot of Ethical Diamond, who absolutely pulled like Rolf Harris sat in the choir stalls for 3/4 of last year's race and still managed somehow to keep going for 4th. Now, horse has gone up £2 since then. Now, you can't tell me that there was more than £2 worth, any less than £2 worth of improvement in that horse, given how hard it pulled last time. The wide draw didn't particularly help Ryan last year because he saw way too much daylight. While you don't want to be down on the fence, 7 will assist him in this, and he'll get a proper lock-up. You'll be hoping for a bit of luck turning in. Ryan's very good at engineering his own luck. He could be wanting to put a big price up about in case he gets a lot of trouble in running and it looks hopeless. But if this thing drops the bit, he will be coming home like a Ferrari. And there it is.
Good stuff. 4 to 1 available, John, I believe. Just double checking that at the time of recording. Yeah, 4 to 1 general. Obviously, Wicked Willie, and you can't knock your reasons. So that brings us on to Nick Davis. I'm intrigued now. What is your best bet?
Well, me and John are going head to head tomorrow, and we just see a blue on this in the last 10 minutes. While I agree with John that Realign has got everything going, the one thing it hasn't got going for it is the draw. Most of the pace is drawn high here, and I'm sure high will dominate. There's a few here that go really, really hammering it from high. Hammer the Hammer, Mr. Lightside, Jungle Drums. There's a few that go forward here. I'm hoping one from the back. Now, I made a note this last year. They wrote it different by accident when they got hampered at the start at Sandown and came home very strong. I just made a little note of it. Now, the first time out this year, away very slowly, given it was a sort of rails bias race, a quiet run out in the middle of the track at Windsor, and it's Adriesta, Chriswood with Murphy on. Now it's got the ideal draw tomorrow, back on fast ground, and it's going to get the pace to aim at there, and providing the steering doesn't go all wrong, I think it should give you a very good run for your money. But it was about 12 to 1 when I looked, but unfortunately, in the last 10 minutes, it seems to have collapsed.
You can still get a bit of 11s, I think. Am I right?
Oh, yeah, 11 to 1. Yeah, I'll have that, yeah.
addressed you. Nick going head to head with John there. Right, coming on to our final selection of the round, of course, to complete the Luckies, which will be kicked off by Cathedral, hopefully at 66ers. Quentin, what have we got as your best bet?
We have got a bet in the 1735 at Ascot on Saturday, and I tried to piss on your chips in the last round, Lee. There's no pissing on your chips in this round. Seraph Gabriel, group horse in the handicap, a lot better than these. He's got he's one of the horses I just wanted a wide draw. Similar to Merchant. You look at 2021, 13 beat 5, beat 14, 224, 17 beat 18, beat 8, 23, 9, 17, 16. And 13, 19, 15 and 222. A seriously well handicapped horse. They've protected the mark here. £12 upgrade already on a decent time figure. He's been put up £4 for coming second, which is absolutely fine. Steps up in trip now, which will suit based on pedigree. Like I said, group horse in the handicap. A few in here I don't think will handle the ground. I think he will handle the ground, no bother at all. If Archivist isn't in the race, I do respect him if he runs, then it's a solid 9-4 shot. We're getting 4-1 minus 10p rule 4 or something. 3 points win.
The tactic here then is back both now, because obviously reserves don't matter, no rule 4s, and see what happens. That's what I'd advise our listeners to do, because I genuinely think that's the race done and dusted. One of them 2 wins for me, but that's where I'm at. Good selection to finish off the round. So, when you decide your multiples, you may want to play, say, on the earlier rounds, on the 1 and 2 point sort of selections, that kind of thing. On a tricky 2 days, I think we've done a good job there. And now we're going to cover the TV action. Friday offers a 7 race card, as does Saturday. Albany kicks us off over 6 tomorrow. Obviously, with the success of the Aidan O'Brien juveniles this week, no surprise to see a very promising Signora, who was beaten on debut, which showed bundles of promise, putting it 9-4 jolly. Who wants to kick me off on this?
Same horse that you said on the sermon on what was it, Sunday, obviously.
Yes.
Talahella, it's 33s, you had said. It's now 20s. I still think 20s is absolutely fine. It's got Fitzella over that side. That will likely be the pace. Ipanema McQueen will come on a lot fitness-wise for the debut. Just mentally wasn't clued up enough. Market support that day, I suspect, is very telling, and in due course it will show. They were considering the Marygate by all accounts on debut, first time out, which says she's got a fair amount of ability. You've got to respect Signora at the top of the market, but she feels short enough and has kind of half been artificially shortened with the Aidan O'Brien 2-year-olds all firing on all cylinders. But I kind of thought Taylor would be a 10-12 poke, enough juice in the 20s.
That's what we said on the sermon. Obviously, you had initially flagged it up to me. Yeah, I agree totally, because Hannon actually turned up at Haydock that day, which I thought was significant.
It's probably got a bird in Lancaster.
Yeah, a Cumbrian Airbnb. Boating on the lake. Right, I don't know what path I'm going down here. Anyway, yeah, but Signora, for me, shaped really well on debut at Nars. Pretty green and in the rear early, not knocked about at all. It was a really sympathetic ride. You could see this improving £20 for that debut, which then would make it probably unbeatable in this. So I wouldn't be taking that on. I ain't losing on that. So yeah, but like Quentin says, I think Tahalel could be one spoke in the woodwork, shall we say, at a very big price. Nick?
No.
John?
Outside of yours, I was really impressed with when I watched it. I would just say I thought Fairy Oak could go well here. She made a bit of an impression first time up. Should love the fast ground, and I think she's got a bit of size and substance to her, so I'd maybe chuck that in as a big price each way poke for anybody that fancies one.
33-1, John.
Yeah.
Big price. That's how our lads like them. And lasses, of course. Okay, we'll move on then. 305 Ascot, Commonwealth Cup. Quentin very confident on Shadow of Light. We said, John, on the podcast, that's the Commonwealth Cup winner straight after the Guineas. Yeah. Anything change your opinion?
No.
That's a good thing with our preview shows. You don't need any more information than that now. Nick, any view here?
I probably wouldn't be as bullish as you lot on the Fast Ground. I mean, he has a winner this week, has he? No, again. I just think it's right for an upset here. I did like Ides of March run at Newbury, but if Ryan isn't riding him, and he's riding Whistle Jacket, who probably needs a monsoon to come down, you can't have that.
More exposed than Katie Price, isn't it?
Yeah. There's one right down the bottom that has got no chance on form, but I thought is a much better than this debut this year with Sky Majesty. I would have thought that could take a big leap forward at some time, but it probably won't be tomorrow. I'll leave the race alone, but I wouldn't. I'm not having a bet in the race.
I did have a look at Sky Majesty because I can remember us saying, do you remember like the Chelmsford race? And this was the all-weather finals bull.
Yeah.
We all said, I think, how is Sky Majesty like the price it is? So it's rated 110. It's getting £5 from Mr. Lightside, rated 102. The winner was officially rated 92 at that point. The fourth 91, the fifth 99, etc., etc. There was no horse near it in the ratings. Why did it go off weak, sort of like 6-4, 5-4 chance? When if it was right, it probably should have been about 4-7, 2-1 on, right? So, and if you watch Tom Marquand in the closing stages, this filly got nothing in terms of like little cracks, or just nothing. It was just like, well, just push her out. She clearly wasn't right. She clearly wasn't ready, and she was not to be beaten or knocked about. I take Nick's point here because on the back of that run, she's not going to be 22s. Imagine if this is her reappearance.
Well, she was 33s and 40s a day ago.
I suppose the one worry is that the traders actually come out and said she's very well, which means basically he's trained her for this. But he said the ground could be against her.
She's a blue point, isn't she?
Yeah, it's never an exact science with sires and what they like. I know what you're saying. And she has won on Good to Firm twice, but they obviously see her best run on heavy at Shanty. So maybe that's the reason. Quentin, anything to add on that?
No, nothing apart from Shadow of Light. That's just keep it simple, back that.
Absolutely. 340, the Duke of Ed. And we've got some opinions here, of course, from the more experienced bettors amongst us. Experience counts. Ethical Diamond from John on the facts that he ran so well last year.
We remember the Duke of Edinburgh when he was an unnamed Greek immigrant.
Who is Duke of Edinburgh now, John?
It's the youngest trucker, isn't it? Edward.
Edward? Is that Edward now?
Yeah.
No, he's neither. I'm sure he was something else. Isn't he somewhere Poncy down south?
No, Duke of Edinburgh.
John, as well, like Prince Charles wore a black hat today.
I know, I was astonished. I think he's lost his grey topper.
Yeah.
Because he was all in grey, wasn't he? As per.
Yeah.
And yet the black topper, which looked fucking ridiculous. Let's be fair.
Racing that we're going off today and all razzmatazz and this, that, or that. First thing producer says, well, John's wrong. I said, what do you mean? He says, he's got a fucking black top hat.
She's waited 3 fucking days to say that.
She has.
I bet she hasn't been to bed.
That's been on her brain.
Yes, that's been on her all night, 2 nights on the spin. I'll get that bastard tomorrow.
Yeah.
Okay, now that.
She's disgraceful, I tell you. Yeah, it's honestly. That's what she's been going on about. In fact, she went on about it as soon as you mentioned it. And she even checked up first day to make sure you were right. And then she's waited for this day. And as soon as he come down...
Get in with Shiv.
Absolutely, yeah.
You could have had an accident with Ray Topper this morning getting out at shower.
Could have left it on bus.
Yeah. Could have shit in it last night, couldn't I? You know, like...
I've got community shit in it.
Scat, innit? Scat daddy.
Yeah.
Anyway,
for that, wouldn't
there you go. Great, sire. Ethical Diamond for John. And of course, Nick's got his sword out and gone a duel here with Mount Atlas. And I have to say to you both, something about Mount Atlas I do like as a horse. I think there's more to come from him yet. And I think the two races...
The angle has to be a factor, doesn't it?
Yeah. Well, that were a float up at Kempton. That was just shit. They weren't winning that.
By the way, did you see the ITV coverage after Docklands won the fucking Queen Anne? They were saying we gutted for Haley. Like she fucking would after this. Yeah.
It's true, isn't it? As if
Oh,
Docklands
fucking
would have
hell,
won for Haley.
what a shame for Haley. She's packed in.
Should have finished fourth. Yeah. Nick and John are all in here. Quentin, what's your views on this race?
Couple I like one's at a price. Nakib, I'd have thought Camacho's have been slowly building this up to something. Poorly placed in a steady run race at York. Better effort last time out at Haydock. Still off.
Rad was a disgrace from 96-year-old Joe, wasn't it?
Yeah, the first one was they've left Ryan Sexton on at Boney 25-1. I think you can throw a few darts at that with a strong pace guaranteed, pretty much. Drawn in 10, which I'd like higher, but price compensates, I think. And the other would
hasn't had a smack with the Pro Cush yet this year, has he?
You'd like to think one's coming tomorrow.
Oh, well,
Like, it feels like they've just slowly been building and working backwards to this. The other would be the Varian horse. What's it called? French Duke. Strongly run race will suit. It's drawn high. Just feel that they're going to have this sort of horse right. I don't think soft ground suited last time out. Good to soft ground even. Did well to win previously at Goodwood, coming off of modest fractions and ran well enough here in the King George last year. So I think he's about 8-9 to 1, and the other one's 25 to 1.
No view for me here. Not really a race that I'm particularly excited about, but to be honest, I like all opinions shared so far on that. So we move on to the 420, which is the Coronation, which I have flagged up a monstrous price that probably won't win, but still at the same time, we could also, when she finishes fourth, beating about 2.5 lengths, they'll say, well, that's ran well at 66s, and no one gets anything for it. Quentin, come to you first on the fillies.
I was looking to take on the top market as well. Zaragana, she's obviously impressive, but there's something I don't like about her. Just the way she carried herself at Longshot last time out. This will be even faster ground. Just something in the back of my head that says no. Falakala's fine, but she's a bit on edge. She's a bit high strung. I thought that Kontiki was the bet here. Very impressed with her at York last time out. I think she's the price she is because the form's not worked out. Bermuda Longtail was beat at Epsom last time out, but she moves like she doesn't want easy ground. And then Consecrated, I think I'd messaged you and said, if the ground's good at Newbury, she doesn't want a bag of that. And they ran her again on good ground and she blew out. I think she's improving. She got there, didn't really do a tap in front at York. The time was fine. Perfect drawing free to track Falakala through. 8-7s generally. I think that's more than fair.
I see a price is drifting.
Yeah,
I'm quite surprised at that, to be honest.
drifting.
I've missed a joke, haven't I?
Yeah.
I have to laugh at my own because no fucker does on here. Right, honestly, we've come up to nearly 500 shows. If I don't laugh at my own stuff, John, deathly silent when I say, like, it's honestly, it's like fucking tumbleweed. So I just laugh at my own because there you go. An obvious one there, an obvious pun. And Quentin likes Kontiki. Nick?
I didn't like the front of the market. I think Moore's right in January because of the ground, and given the stable awfully win these horrible races again, I'll probably go in that direction, though I would never bet.
John?
I was just wondering if anybody should touch Kontiki with a badge ball.
Yeah.
Oh, it's getting worse now. It is. See, I laugh at yours. You don't laugh at mine. There you go.
I have no opinion on the race. I'll be siding with you with a big price.
Well, listen, if Cathedral wins, I'll be going to church on Sunday. Make no mistake.
I'll buy some cheese. It'll be Cathedral City in my house.
That's the Twitter post if that wins, isn't it? Cathedral cheese. 5 o'clock Ascot is the Sandringham. And John always throws a curveball. If he doesn't tip at Navan or fucking Ballinrobe on a weekend podcast when we do our tipping shows, he decides to throw another one and tip in a fillies handicap with his mega price selection. Never let go, of course. Ed Walker's Kieran Schumacher in the saddle.
I'm right out to save a fuckers there, isn't there? Ed Walker and Skidmark teaming up. Jesus.
Are we saying that John's is drawn 2. Is that going to be a problem?
It could be. I've had a look at the pace map. I think the majority of the pace is up the centre. And I also think Tabty will be there for a bit of a blow, and I can say that was just one having a blast, to be honest.
I was very original. I thought Das Visual would run well. Beckett won. I thought that would run well, but it's not missing the market, so I'm not really adding anything in conversation.
Yeah. What do you think to the named horse Purple Rainbow? Is it just a Purple Rainbow? I don't get the name. Like, whose name's Purple Rainbow?
That's not even a fucking rainbow, is it?
Well, that's what I'm saying. I don't understand. Anyway,
Might as well call it shit rainbow. One colour is not a rainbow. Try taking that on a pride match and kick the shit out of you.
Maybe they meant Purple Rain, but someone misheard them.
Anyway, it's a Nick Davis no from me on this race. Quentin?
Sorry, I'm looking up Purple Rainbow. Something about Scooby-Doo and some sort of dress. I don't think Charlie Boy's watching Scooby-Doo.
Scooby-Doo in a dress now. Okay. Yeah.
Daphne wears a purple frock, doesn't she, in Scooby-Doo?
Yeah.
Yeah, she does, and the dam's called Daphne, so that's why it might work out. Who fucking knows? I'd liked
John was more of a Velma fan, I think.
No.
You loved her, John.
And a shag Freddy besides Velma. And the dog.
And Scrappy.
No, there's limits, Lee. Come on. It's only a pup, for fuck's sake.
And that's out of order. I'm sorry for that. Quentin.
Apple Plain.
I had half like Miss Nightfall, but the price has gone on that. High draw. I think she gets a mile with a strong pace, Oshin, but it's 14s into 7s now, so that's enough for me to say no. Apart from that, no real opinion on the race.
We all start to get gin and pay out now by this time. But of course, Nick, I presume you've nothing really to add on that?
Nah. I like Das Visual, but she's no price.
1735 is the King Ted, a race I always like to try and back the winner in. Quentin's pissed on my parade, tipped Amalok, and he stood over and he's just dropped his drawers and then just started raining down all over me. With these better price selections, Nick, John, any view on the King Ted this year? It looks a bit substandard-y again,
I thought it looked very poxy, and I thought one of the first 3 in the betting would win it. I can see Quentin's thinking of Nightwalker, but where's the pace coming from? The convergence and non-runner?
That is true. That's something I might have not taken into account with Amalok.
There's a Johnson in there.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they'll send Gaviscon forward as well.
Gaviscon.
Gal, I haven't got my glasses on.
You're as bad as us. We said Cauliflower was second in pre-jockey club. Cauliflower ran a good race, and now it's Gaviscon.
You know?
Getting out of hand. Charlie Johnson, and Billy the Kid. Yeah, that might blast out and stall 10. And then, like you said, Wayne loves to fucking blast off, doesn't he?
Oh, yeah.
His normal text gets told, blast off, Wayne, blast off.
They'll have him on sprouts tonight. Ready to blast away.
Imagine that, riding work, say, at Newmarket in the morning.
Yeah.
You're following lead horse, and kid in front of you that's on lead horse is like, had curry and that. And safe wind's blowing it right direction and all.
Yeah.
Anyway, 6:10. The Holyrood that John has tipped real line. He likes that one. Nick likes Adrestia of Simon A. Crisford, Oshin in the saddle. So it comes to me and Quentin, really, to chew this one out.
I want to see how the draw plays out in earlier racing. The day I was with John and with Rear Line, Haggis doesn't really waste entries, blah, blah, blah. Gimcrack entry last year, Champagne Middle Park entry. And it was interesting, he still held a Commonwealth Cup entry as well. He obviously thinks he's a bit better than 93. Travelled a treat at Salisbury. It was essentially a piece of work, wasn't it?
Yeah.
If the draw's no bother, I think he's the best handicapped horse in the race. So a case of seeing how it plays out throughout the day and heading from there.
Sage advice. I was of the same ilk in terms of what I thought about Real Line. But if the draw was no problem, I think this is a very solid fav and probably will go off well bet and a lot shorter than the current price of around 4-1, if that's the case. Okay, moving on to Saturday with 7 more to go. The Chesham, Another perler. This race, to me, I'll kick us off. I had a big word for Trianmore before debut. They said this was their best 2-year-old that had worked so far. They were very, very keen on it. Interesting to see him strong overnight. That's a good sign because, as we've seen from this week, Charlie Appleby runners that are weak in the market have tended to perform quite badly. So if Trianmore's strong on the off, I'm going to bet Trianmore because I think this is, on the info I received, they said this was like the second coming for debut. He did win easy, but he's beat nothing. So you don't know how good it possibly is. The other view I had on the race was a horse I liked at long odds, was the Charlie Johnson trained Venetian Lace.
Oh,
It's not soon enough for him to ruin it because she shaped incredibly well at Chelmsford. Nice big filly. The track didn't suit. 6 furlongs certainly didn't suit. And she was very powerful through the line. The form is very strong. Our Cody obviously won next time out and won well. And she was well clear of the third. So the form's got a nice look to it, especially with Step Up to 7. Billy in the saddle. I like the jockey booking. And that's a massive price at the sort of 16 to 1 range. Anyone want to chime in with opinion here?
yeah, I think there's a danger of them going too quick here. Moments of joy, I think they'll have it lodged in the man's out. She led last time and needed all of it to battle back and all the rest of it. Humidity went forward on debut, and as did the safest adversary. And the one that made a bit of an impression on me first time up was the Rafe and Ralph trained Water Castle, who I thought looked a very, very fair sort on debut, but he also looked very, very, very much in need of the experience and a bit of a tune-up.
Mm.
And I think if they ride that one, Chile, and they do go like Stink on the front end, it could be one I'd be interested in playing a bit in running.
Big price. 33s has been taken into 25s from what I can see at the moment. Thank you, John. Quentin?
I would oppose Moments of Joy. I think you're going to be able to get 2s on the field. I kind of think that's the right way to play the race. I wasn't that impressed with her. Well placed, lost her pitch, but ultimately was well placed in a steadily enough run race. She looks an okay sort, but nothing spectacular in truth. I'll take the field at 2s on.
That's good. Yeah, like you say, it doesn't feel like a class top end, but what I would say is if Trianmore is strong, I won't be losing on that. That's your save a point, chucking a few darts at prices. Just save on that one just in case that it is the second coming, like the shit shoveler info that we got before debut.
Yeah.
Nick Davis?
Nope.
So I like having you on previews, and it's an editor's dream. 305 Ascot is the Hardwicke 1.5-mile race course for the elder horses. Has the feel of a bit of a sort of meh renewal.
It's a piss house of a Hardwicke.
Rebels Romance, he's 7 now. Doesn't seem to reserve his best form for Europe or, shall I say, British races. He seems at his best internationally. Bit of carrots there.
What do we think of Ghost Rate at £2 million and going backwards faster than an Italian tank?
I don't know why they've stepped him up.
I had the opinion he is. Probably had enough hard races at 3. He was basically chasing home economics. It's top class form. And all of a sudden, he's come back this year, and it looks like pretty 2 moderate efforts. If I'm giving him some leeway and hope for Kia in the £2 million purchase, I'm saying that he did clip heels like 6 furlongs out. I watched the race. He definitely clipped heels and sort of stumbled a bit. Whether that affected him, he never got massive daylight either. I'm probably being a bit kind. It still was a bit flat. There was no pizzazz at the end. He was staying on, but just staying on. I think you look at the pedigree. There might be prospect for him to get further. The Champs-Élysées mare, it's one of them some horses do improve, but then it's a bad Hardwicke. And to me, I'm struggling for an actual bet, which I'm hoping you guys can sort us out with it at least.
I thought Space Legend was the hardest horse to price there.
Why, Nick?
I just thought his best run was here on fast ground behind the Clandeghan, and he has had many goes at this kind of conditions like he had that day.
Fair enough. Again, close fourth to Los Angeles in the Voltiger. You can make a case for probably a few here. Quentin, your views?
I was fairly strong on Space Legend. I was hoping for a wider draw, but you've only got the 12 runners here. You kind of look at Rebels Romance. As you said, he can beat bad horses abroad, but You've been put in your place at Maidan after getting the run of the race. You've beaten Epic Poet in what was a sprint finish where you've done them for toe. Alrifa surely wants softer ground than this. Ghostwriter hanging right last time out at the end of the race. Like, I was very surprised. Like, the setup of, what was it, the Huxley? Was very surprised how strong the market space Legend was that day. Haggis weren't really firing. The potential of no pace in the race, that factored in. I was surprised to see him 9-4. He ended up poorly placed that day. Pace held up. Just think that he improves a lot for getting a proper test at the trip. Cheek pieces on first time out, back on genuine firm ground. It was borderline good to soft at Chester, to be honest. And it's a very, very thin Hardwicke. He's 7-1. I'll kind of be 4-9-2, that sort of range.
Good stuff. Just as we record live, the fucking Stands Rail looks pretty hot to me.
Hotter than a hot thing.
You might get this selective watering again. Bloody hell, a 4-1 favourite was the Buckingham Palace, a 3-1 favourite wins the Hunt Cup. Fucking hell.
That's a good point about watering, isn't it? We're talking here that, as we're watching live, the clerk now might go, I'll water this out on the stand side of it, because the stand side's going a bit rabid. It's one of them, like, you can never be so sure. You can't, like, punt it overnight and think, stand side's the place to be, then if you're morning.
Gross profits tax tells you it'll water it out. A turnover tax, it'll get left alone.
For sure, this is where we're at as an industry. Anything more to add on the Hardwicke before we move on?
No.
340 then. QE2 Jubilee Stakes. Nice to see the Queen Elizabeth still has a race sponsored here after her. John, you're a royalist, aren't you? Big fan.
Are they going to do like the Queen Mother? They've got the Queen Mother's head at Sandown, haven't they? Not a real head, obviously, but like
on a spike.
Yeah, and I thought they might get her head in Ascot, at some point.
Yeah, bronze statue.
It'd be a big popular tourist attraction, wouldn't it? Go and kneel in front of the head. Yeah. And, that's terrible, isn't it? Jesus.
Is it as bad as like the hat that gets its own car to be driven?
No, nothing will ever be as bad as the hat that gets its own bulletproof car.
Couldn't do a Royal Ascot without mentioning this. Yeah. So the QE2 Jubilee Stakes, of course, 6 furlongs. Well, as that heads the market for James Doyle, Mr. Rainier, who obviously trains this sort of a round the world sort of horse. This been around a bit. Does France mainly, but has been to Shattin.
I bet it did.
Second to Lake Forest, down under. Does that justify it at 100 to 30? No. John, I always hover over your quotes on Inisherin because you always update this one as like you're physically in love with this one. Like, is this one for you? No?
No, because I think it'll go so handy. I think you'll get involved too soon.
Yeah.
The one I'm really interested in here is Stormboy.
I was hoping you were going to say Top Gear.
Well, I'm always interested.
There's plenty of Top Gear at Ascot.
If I can get my hands on a bit of Top Gear, yeah. Fuck the sprint.
Stormboy.
More or less predicted how this would be ridden at the Currow at his first runs with these lads. And by the way, did you notice how many of the lads there were at Ascot today?
Yeah, lots of them.
They're expanding. And I counted about 38 lads.
It were like Basher Watts Syndicate.
Well, I think the thing is, the lads now are no longer lads. They're actually old men. And they've all got grandkids, haven't they? So...
Yeah.
Grandson lads now, as well as son lads.
Old man John weren't there, though, were he?
No.
He were plugged in at home.
Yeah, special days, isn't it, for him now?
Yeah.
Anyway, Stormboy.
Yeah.
Ridden pretty much as expected on debut because this was always the first target. Knowing that, they were always going to be dropping him in and they wanted to settle him, and that's exactly what Ryan did last time. And it was an absolute disgrace of a float-up. There was no attempt made to put the horse in the race whatsoever.
I agree.
Stolen in public at its very, very worst.
Yeah.
Completely different horse in this race.
This could be the unexposed jewel, couldn't it, in terms of like blowing this race apart. Stormboy, an interesting choice. Quentin?
Absolutely nothing from me, to be honest. When you've got Satona, you got the Jap horse taking 18% of the market, and I have no idea what the form is. like it was a swift pass. Just one thing, I'll be very concerned about Lazat on genuine firm ground. Very concerned.
Does anybody
Interesting.
actually know what Saturno means? There's loads of these Jap horses with Saturno, isn't
Purple rainbow
there?
in Japanese.
Again, it's going back to Scooby Doo
Yeah.
kind of vibe, isn't it? You know, Lazat, of course, by territories, and of course, he's a renowned sort of soft ground sire as well. So, like you say, this rattling quick might just be against the Fav, and that's good reason. Also, that's my opinion on the race, Quentin. That's what I want to do. Oppose the Fav, just strike that, and that's how we should get waged on the race. Nick Davis.
I'm with John and Stormboy. I will say that my favourite, as it's my birthday, I must back my favourite filly, Great Generation.
Is it your birthday tomorrow?
Saturday.
Oh, of course, we're talking about Saturday, aren't we?
Saturday, yeah. She's one of my favourite fillies. She was given a diabolical ride. Why she's 3 points times the price of Flora Bermuda if you watch that York bait ride. She took a second out of her from last. She went from last to first in about a furlong and a half. And of course, it was from the 3 to the 1 rather than the 2 to the winning post. No, she's an admirable filly. I backed her. I must admit, I backed her at Lingfield when she won that race again. She acts on the ground. She can shit the bed and run a really bad race every now and again, but I'm going to have a few shekels on her at about 28s, 33s.
Good stuff, Nick. Good case made. They like a price. So let's hope you follow the lead on what we're saying. We don't like the Fav. John and Nick like Storm Boy. Nick's put up the filly at a nice price. Fingers crossed for a good race there for us. 4:20, we move on to the Jersey, and this is an absolute quandary for me. Another race I like to back the winner of. I like to find the Jersey winner, and I'm struggling like fuck, boys. Give me some direction.
Well, you like to find the Jersey winner because usually you think the Jersey winner can go on from the Jersey and become something. I think the only thing that any of these could become are hat stands. I think that's where the problem lies. Possibly Removes still has a bit of hope for the future. I'm saying an entire temperament that I'm happy with, to be honest, but I think he could be okay. Saracen might have a bit of a chance to make it in the big time as well, but I think them two, plus the two ammo horses that you couldn't get a fag paper between, I think that's more or less where to concentrate. But I couldn't entertain a bet on the race, to be honest.
Gun to the head, and your mug punt in play where you have to chuck a score at something.
Yeah.
Saracen for me. But I think he's tight enough now at 13-2-ish. I'd have been interested at 8s and 9s, maybe for a bit more. But like Saracen, I thought it was a good run in the Greenham. He's unexposed. There could be a lot more to come. Siuni, love the fast ground, John. That's where I'm at with him. Saracen with the gun to the head. Quentin.
I was all over Removes here, all over it like a bad rash. Like you got question marks like Comanche Brave, Setlin, Saracen. I know it's by Siuni, but I'm concerned about it on genuine fast ground. Marvel Man, I felt, was on the right part of the track last time out, despite the big figure. California Dreamer's been hiked up £10 for being well positioned in a race at Takara, which played front end. Spy Chief's a cunt that Removes will get a lead off of. The interesting thing about this was when entries first came through, Ryan Moore was dropped up on Removes. Caught my eye straight away. Then he eventually ended up on Comanche Brave. This was a wow horse for me. I thought the performance at Doncaster was very, very impressive. Strong on the clock. Like he tanked all over an okay field. I think this is a proper horse. You've got Callum Rodriguez on. Obvious downside, but Callum Rodriguez, if Ryan Moore was on, it'll be 5-2. I'm quite happy to take 9-2-5 with Rodriguez in the saddle.
Fantastic. Nick, anything for you?
No, I went round and round and ever just screeching circles, and I had to take a Nurofen, so I gave it up in the end.
So we move on then. 5 o'clock. Nick, this is getting into your territory now. You get first dibs at this.
Well,
right?
I already have, though. That's
your...
completely random, haven't I?
Yeah, of course you have. I want to know other things on that.
What do you want to know?
Right, you've just seen the fucking draw, right? Could we be looking statistically? It's usually high numbers, isn't it, for the Wokingham?
Yeah, well, you've got Valiant Force from 28. That tells you something. You got Get It from 13. They are the two main pace angles, aren't they? Valiant Force and Get It. One's in 13, one's so immediately I'd draw a line through anything 1 or 10, and I just came up with it. I mean, As I said, I would have been on Elmer Jed. You haven't got a lot of. Most of the paces middle to high, and the two blasters are 13 and 28. I just think you're going to get. I mean, I do like Symbol of Honor as a horse. I must admit, I really like Symbol of Honor as a horse. But you're 5-1, 11-2 now.
Is that what he is now?
6-1. I think Labrooks are standing out 8s, but most of the time it's 6-1, 11-2. You've got more Thunder here. It's been highly progressive, but now 5-1. As I said, I would have been all over Elmon Jed, but it's reserve, second reserve, so I'm probably going to get plenty random. But yeah, pace, middle and high.
Middle and high, no low numbers, says Nick in the Wokingham. John Lang.
Yeah, Corker. Nice high draw. Track suits no end. Claimer up. Nice and handy for tracking two fucking nut bars down the stands rails. What's not to like?
He must be fucking sick of running at York.
Yeah.
It's like every time I run Corker at York, like fucking Mrs. Break at York. Fantastic. They even sent to Hamilton last time under Jack Nichols, I think.
It'll run it, you think, what the fuck, I'm actually getting into this.
Like when pace starts collapsing at a furlong pole, it's thinking, fucking hell. You make a good point there. So John's on Corker. Quentin?
No opinion at all. Absolutely nothing for me.
This was the race I wanted Nick's opinion, because sometimes Nick has forecasts and fucking tricasts in this, believe it or not. So I was hoping for a big forecast tricast bombshell. He might do it on day. I'll pass it on Patreon to our subscribers and say what Nick's actually doing on the day regarding to draw. 5:35 is the Golden Gates handicap. Obviously, me and Quentin are on Seraph Gabriel, but obviously Archivist, you've got to take that very seriously. This is a good horse. Will he get in? So, John, I'm coming to you. You must like something in.
Yeah, no, but unfortunately, it's Archivist.
We're all snookered. We're 32 points behind with 27 on the table. Yeah, it's one of them. It's a sorry state of affairs. Archivist is going to be 105, I think, in time. So we're just hoping that gets in, and then we can all have some fun. 4s and the 7s, that makes sense because you get your money back if it doesn't run. And 4s, then Seraph Gabriel, I think, shortens on the day, as me and Quentin have said. Nick?
Apart from yours too, I mean, if you like the London Gold Cup form, you might want to do a Cade de Bethune, Ernst Blofeld reverse forecast, both drawn wide.
Ernst Blofeld, yeah. And to be fair, Towser this week, he's absolutely blasting the winners in. It's as if he literally has told 30 to watch Tipping Point only, and he's got back into the fold job.
Yeah, I just mentioned one of the big prize here that might go well. Basalt campaigned at a mile right up until last time and then hiked up to 1.5 miles. I think this trip might suit better.
Fair play. We move on to the finale. Everyone's pissed by now, surely. Everyone is bladdered at Ascot.
One of the questions there is, what did Murphy say to Balding that you to run Wild Waves? I fancied this for a few handicaps. Why is he going up to this trip? What must you say? He must have said it's useless or...
Well, it's weird, isn't it? Right, so you got an horse rated 99. Could it be Northumberland Plate? Could it be, he's decided to come for this. No idea.
He finished third in the Melrose, didn't it? It's not a bad animal.
Yeah.
This year it's got tailed off a thing, and it looked like it was really stopped there at the Newmarket. The ride it was given. This is a horrible race, isn't it? Some of you might run well. Trooper Bisdy will like the ground.
Brian's running trash can on this ground. I mean, it's a soft ground horse, and it's seen better days anyway, but Jesus, it's a poor eat this year. So what are we saying, Quentin Franks?
I am saying go for a walk, have a sleep, do anything but have a bet in it. It's not my type of race at the best of times, to be honest, and you've got a 10 to 11 favourite that you're half guessing about, and yeah, it wasn't a betting race for me, if I'm being honest.
Usually Catherine Fry comes alive for this race when McManus has won it. She loves it when he has won it. It's like, oh yeah, it's the old. This is McManus pulling off his stroke for the meeting. That's another thing I'm surprised at. No McManus runners at Royal Ascot, John.
He's probably came to Cheltenham.
And Galway. Anyway, the Fav really, I mean, to me, I get what Nick's saying about wild ways, but like it's a strange thing to do, really. Like that much of a rising trip when you know. I don't know.
Anyway, listen, if you're there,
I go with Nick.
you'll be three parts gone, in the loose,
Yeah.
doing something or drunk.
You won't be sober, will you?
We're all finished by then. Going to sort of end it there, really. But I hope you've enjoyed the coverage this week. We've done 3 podcasts for you this week, so I hope you've enjoyed them all. We've certainly enjoyed doing it, and we've had some nice winners, so that always helps. We're back on Sunday, as usual, with the sermon. Listen to more absolute rubbish, of course, then from me, John and Chris. It always is rubbish. But then you always keep listening. So what can we do? We keep doing it. That's all from us. Bye for now.